Time doesn't just tick forward, it curves and twists, it responds to mass. Einstein taught us that anything with weight changes the shape of the universe itself. Most people think of planets, stars, or black holes when they hear that. But here's the unsettling reality. Your body obeys the same law. And the fat accumulating around your belly. It's not just weight, it's mass in the most dangerous place, constantly pulling on your organs, distorting your metabolism, and accelerating your aging in ways most people never see coming. This isn't a story about vanity. This is about physics turning against you inside your own body. When we talk about fat, we usually think in soft terms, but visceral fat doesn't play soft. It doesn't sit under your skin. It coils around your organs, tightening its grip, and once it's there, it behaves more like an active force than storage. This fat sends chemical signals called cytokines that ripple through your bloodstream. They trigger inflammation, disrupt insulin, and turn your immune system into a misfiring engine. What you're dealing with isn't just extra weight, it's a field of influence. It alters hormone rhythms and increases oxidative stress. Visceral fat acts like a biological black hole. The more it gathers, the harder it becomes to escape its pull. It creates feedback loops that bend your biology toward decay. You eat, insulin rises, fat stores deepen. The deeper they get, the more resistant your body becomes to change. Just like gravity warps time near a black hole, this kind of fat slows everything good and speeds everything bad. It makes you older, faster. Inside every one of your cells is a biological clock, not made of gears or quartz, but strands of DNA capped by telomeres. These telomeres shorten each time your cells divide. Shorter telomeres mean older cells. And once they're too short, that cell stops renewing and starts to fail. Or worse, it turns into a ticking cancer risk. Here's where visceral fat comes in. It doesn't just distort your hormones and your energy, it presses on your very code. Studies show that people with high visceral fat have significantly shorter telomeres, a leading indicator for chronic disease, cognitive decline, and more. Think about that. Every pound of visceral fat is a kind of time compression, not theoretical, not poetic. Deep and invasive, this fat speeds the loss of your ability to regenerate. The more of it you carry, the faster you burn through your future. It's not just making you bigger, it's stealing your time at the genetic level. You've heard the advice to cut calories, walk more, do some sit-ups. But this kind of fat doesn't yield to surface-level strategies. Visceral fat isn't stubborn because you're lazy. It's stubborn because it changes the rules of engagement inside your body. Once this fat crosses a threshold, your metabolism shifts. Hormones like leptin and insulin stop signaling normally. Hunger and fullness cues get scrambled. Fat storage becomes the default setting. Your body is responding exactly as it's been rewired to. Trying to fight it with generic platitudes is like trying to escape a planet's gravity with a paper airplane. You need force, you need precision, you need to understand what you're actually up against. This isn't just stored energy, it's a command system. The longer it runs, the deeper its control goes. To pull away from the gravitational grip of visceral fat, you don't need gimmicks. You need interventions that alter the field itself. The first is blood sugar control, not just skipping dessert, but targeting the spikes. Every time your insulin surges, your body chooses storage over burn. But slow that rise, and you can shift momentum. Soluble fiber, especially from sources like psyllium, acts like a buffer. It thickens in your gut and slows glucose absorption, smoothing out the peaks that would otherwise trigger fat storage. Then there's the matter of activation. Berberine, a compound found in certain plants, has been shown to switch on AMPK, a kind of metabolic command center. When AMPK is active, your cells prioritize repair, fat oxidation, and insulin sensitivity. It's a way to change direction without crash diets or stimulants. Finally, timing matters. Movement in a fasted state, especially low-intensity walking in the early morning, taps directly into stored fat, not for punishment, but to reorient the body's assumptions. You are not in a constant state of surplus. You are capable of using what you've already stored. These aren't shortcuts. They are signal corrections. There's another way to resist this pull. Increase your own internal mass, the right kind. Muscle is not just tissue, it's metabolic leverage. Every pound of lean muscle acts like an energy sink, drawing in glucose, burning fat, and keeping insulin low. Resistance training isn't about bodybuilding. It's about building scaffolding strong enough to defy internal collapse. And then there's heat, more specifically, thermogenesis. As we age, we lose brown fat, the type that actually burns energy to produce heat. Cold exposure, even something as simple as finishing a shower with 30 seconds of cold water, can help reawaken this tissue. It sends a signal to the body that energy should be spent, not hoarded. Some people will need more. There are medications, like telmisartan, that do more than control blood pressure. They activate pathways that help reverse insulin resistance. For some, these tools can mean the difference between a slow spiral and a functional rebound. Each layer added is a counterforce, not against weight, but against entropy. There's a psychological cost to this mass, too. Visceral fat doesn't just alter your chemistry, it warps how you see yourself. When your energy is low, when movement feels harder, when motivation slips, it becomes easier to believe the story that it's all downhill from here. That erosion of self-trust becomes its own kind of weight, and it feeds the same loop the biology does. Mood, drive, even memory don't exist in a vacuum. They're shaped by the signals coming from your gut, your hormones, your fat cells. When those signals are distorted, your will begins to flicker. You start acting like someone older than you are. You start thinking like someone whose best years are behind them. But that shift isn't permanent. The moment you disrupt the loop, the momentum can swing the other way. You start remembering who you were before the distortion field took hold. And that memory, that's the first anchor in building the version of yourself you still have time to become. Einstein showed us that mass bends time. The more mass you gather, the slower time moves near it. At cosmic scales, that's black holes. At human scale, that's visceral fat. It bends your biology, compresses your timeline, and makes every year hit harder than it should. But gravity can be resisted. In physics, you do it with energy. In the body, you do it with precision, pattern disruption, and a refusal to accept drift. The laws are real, but so is your capacity to shift the equation. This isn't about being thin. It's about being in control of your trajectory. The sooner you reverse the inner pull of this fat, the faster you restore time to its rightful flow. Your biology is plastic. Your future is still in flux. The mass is real, but so is your ability to push back. And every day you act, you push the curve back toward freedom.